I mean, nothing stops him in this movie.
More often than not, I literally think, what could a spider do, and also could stop a spider? Is it a man driven by obsession and pride with 4 metallic arms, or could it be the comic book rundown presented by Rundown Review? No, dyslexia at that. The Rundown Reviews brought to you by the Comic Book Rundown. Of course, you know what? Let me, right off the bat, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit like, subscribe, comment below why you think I'm stupid for thinking this movie was mediocre. And that is a hard stance, and I've got some stuff to say about it. But I think we have really first hit the "it didn't hold up for me" movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have I think I have a good reason. I think I can justify it enough for people to go, okay, I guess I could see that.
Okay.
But of course, is the Rundown Reviews. I, of course, am the person who did this introduction. I am Chuck. Make sure you leave a review as well if you're listening on the podcast. Did I get everything? Oh, and head over to patreon.com/professionalcasual. As little as $1 can do a thing. But hit that 301 tier. That's where you need to be. That's where we want you to be. That's where I want you to be. I want you to be right up in there. Spread eagle.
All of those 301 tiers.
Get up in that 301 tier. Spread eagle. A pile of Whoppers having it your way. You know what I mean? That was for Ron. Ron knows. Of course, I'm also joined by the CEO, Editor-in-Chief, Supreme Ruler, and Reptilian Overlord of the Comic Book Rundown, Joseph Janero.
That's me.
Did you get new headphones, buddy?
I did, because the ones I had broke last week.
They were fathead this time.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Very, very. They like move all around. So I can just like,
ooh,
I want to be cool, but I'm not.
Yeah,
so I don't do that.
Is that what you call cool?
Well, like
he's getting ready to drop us a beat.
Yeah,
he looks like every shitty TikTok DJ about to press a button. Joe, you about to press the hottest button? Okay. And we're here with Ron.
Do the thing.
Hey, everybody.
My biggest issue with this headphones is that the plug is on the right side, and I'm used to be on the left. So like I keep hitting it with my shoulder. I'm like,
or maybe you just have it on the wrong ears.
No, I don't. I have another adapter for this one for my mixer, but I don't trust that yet. Anyway, Ron's here.
Ronald, hello. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Oh, I'm living.
The great white nope. You're very pale today, Ron.
Oh, it's because I have sunlight coming in the window.
Yeah, I see that. I was just like, wow, he's radiant, but also fluorescent. That's interesting. We watched Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, from 2004.
From 2004, which
that we did.
Okay, so the first one came out in 2002.
Yes.
It does not. I remember the first one.
I think it was supposed to come out in 2001, but then the
9/11 happened.
9/11 happened. They had to go back and re-edit stuff out. So
yeah,
I believe. Don't quote me on that one. I could be off on that one.
So you know how when you're a kid, time doesn't feel real to you.
Yeah.
Like time just seems to stand still for so long, and you can't wait to grow up and all those things. I remember this feeling like the biggest gap between movies because I loved the first one so much. I walked out of the theater saying, I need the second one already. I have to see it. I almost and I'm not a go see a movie a second time person. And I was like, I want to go to the first one again because I'm just so enamored and obsessed with this movie. That it doesn't feel like it was only a 2-year difference between these two movies. Because I think now, a movie coming out 2 years ago seems like really fast. Like a 2-year gap between movies seems like, I don't know, maybe just because there's more happening.
You know what though? But in movies prior to this, if you think about like Lord of the Rings or stuff like that. Like they came out like boom, 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 like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Lord of the Rings and like Matrix 2 and 3 are the exception because they filmed all of those at the same time. Lord of the Rings, they dropped them a year apart. And then Matrix 2 and 3 was 6 months. They dropped them the same year. It's not often movies do that anymore. And when they do, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, they either have really high hopes for it and they want to get it out as soon as they can, or because the other one I'm thinking of is the Fear Street movies that were on Netflix. They recorded all those.
Were those not all released at the same time?
They were released apart.
Oh, I watched them all at the same time, but I didn't know when they were released. So
it was 2 weeks apart. Anyway, they were released close together because they were originally going to go into the theaters, but COVID happened. And it's probably better they didn't go in the theaters because while I enjoy those movies, they were not strong enough to have been like theatrically amazing.
I agree to that. I thought it was supposed to be a series, not movies. So
that's fair. There's more coming out of that, but that's besides the point. There's more continuing on that stuff. But Spider-Man, this is prime time between Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. That's a 2-year gap, yes, but we had a crap ton of movies coming out. We've seen all of them. We had Daredevil, we had Hulk, X-Men, Punisher. Like we've got Blade Trinity after this. We also had for like the Marvel or for DC stuff, we had League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the Catwoman movie. Gonna ignore that one. But like then we also had. I'm trying to think. Was there like? Let's see here.
Daredevil. Did we say Daredevil?
I said Daredevil. Said Daredevil. Yeah.
We had Hellboy coming out before, like the first Hellboy movie.
Yeah.
Bulletproof Monk, which is another. I really love that one.
Bulletproof Monk, the comic movie.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
We'll get to that eventually.
That's with
Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott. Yeah. Okay. I remember liking that. I remember liking that. I've only ever seen it on TV, but I remember liking it.
I've seen it a couple times. I enjoyed it. I'm wondering how it'll hold up.
I am also wondering that because I liked it a lot when I first watched it also, and I haven't seen it in years.
But this is one where I saw it in theaters, and I loved it. And even I've rewatched it a few different times. My most recent one prior to this was before Spider-Man No Way Home, specifically because of what the connection was going to be with bringing back all of the, the Peters and the villains and everything. I still, even to this day, I still enjoy it. Now, mind you, this time around, actually paying attention, there are some problems that I didn't notice or I just ignored before that, it might reflect my score a little bit when we get to the end. But this is still somewhat an enjoyable movie, in my eyes, anyway.
You know what I remember the most about this movie releasing?
What's that?
I was working at Walmart when the DVD dropped for this. Not the theatrical release, but like the DVD release.
Yeah.
And I got to dress up like Spider-Man, and that was awesome. And I got paid for it.
And he stole all the copies and sold them out the back of his car, allegedly.
I mean, it was Walmart. He didn't really steal them.
Allegedly. That's right. They were owed to me in back pay.
That's true. The reason why I bring this is because I remember seeing this movie in theaters. I went with the same people that I saw the first one with. And everybody, normally they are like, kind of like crusty nerd shitlords that like meticulously pick at everything and find everything that was bad about it. And I remember them actually liking this movie.
Okay.
Which I was surprised about. But I remember walking out of the theater, and what was it? That was 2004? So I would have been, I don't know, math.
16?
Is that right? 2004?
I think so.
15? 88?
What? 16.
88? Yeah, 16. Okay. I would have been 15. I would have been turning 16.
It was
15.
June of, yeah, you would have been turning because it was like a month before.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. I remember walking out and not like thinking that I had to like this because all of my friends who are smarter than me really liked this movie. And there was something about it that I wasn't connecting with, and I don't know what it was until I rewatched it here. I finally get what it is that I didn't like about it.
Okay.
And it's the same thing that I don't like about Evil Dead 2. And that's where the connection was for me. It's too campy and it's trying too hard and it's leaning into the elements that I didn't like. The first one has some campiness to it, but it genuinely takes itself seriously and it's like really, really good with just enough camp to like suspend disbelief, right?
Balance it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe in the kayfabe of it because it is a comic book movie, but there's still some reality to it. This really leans into camp a little too much, but overly is trying to take itself seriously because of that. And I think I just lose the disconnection to the movie in that way. Because it's not across the board balanced level. It's like, here's a scene that's super campy, then we're going to be super serious. Then we're going to be super campy, then we're going to be super serious. It was almost like scene for scene. That it was like this like weird switch off.
Okay.
Also, I don't like any of the actors in this time. I think Mary Jane is a terrible person who is regularly abusive to Peter in a lot of different ways.
But that goes both ways for those two, honestly.
I don't okay, so I don't disagree with you, but there is a little bit of like I can kind of sympathize with Peter in this movie more so than I could in the first one. And maybe that's just where I am in life, like myself. So I was just like maybe feeling some camaraderie in that moment. But also, she's a fucking bitch in this movie for no reason most of the time, other than she got fucking butthurt because she got rejected by Peter.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
you're not wrong on that one.
Yeah. James Franco can't fucking act his way out of a goddamn paper bag in this movie. It's worse than it was in the first one.
And
I
we
don't.
saw the third one to go to, my dude.
I know.
I 100% agree on that one right there.
Agreed. Yeah.
And it gets
a lot worse. 100%.
Yeah.
It gets worse. Yes.
Because he becomes more of the focus in the third one.
This one, his whole stint of what's Spider-Man? You need to tell me about Spider-Man. Literally every time he sees Peter Parker.
Hey, Pete, you're my best friend and I love you. Where's Spider-Man?
Yeah,
I know you know about him. You've been fondling his balls while you take pictures of him. Tell me where he's at.
I mean, technically he has, because it's his own balls.
I mean, okay. So here's the thing.
Yeah, he has only webs for that.
I agree. God damn it. I agree. I agree with you on that he's acting ridiculous. However, my only thing is technically Peter is committing a crime because in Harry's eyes, Spider-Man killed his father. And if Peter knows the location of Spider-Man and knows possibly who Spider-Man is, he's essentially like hiding a murderer, which I'm pretty sure is against the law.
Well,
except
I'm not saying I'm not saying I necessarily agree with him on this. I'm just saying I get where he was coming from.
But the only reason, yeah, okay, that's fair. But in Spider-Man's defense, the only reason why Norman didn't, have like a negative death in the eyes of everyone is because he hid the fact that he was the Green Goblin. Because he could have just left him pincushioned to that fucking wall and, walked away.
Right.
But instead, he took him back to his house, gave him to his fucking whiny ass little bitch ass kid.
After he undressed him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've heard about William Dafoe's dick, right?
Yes, actually, I have.
I've seen William Dafoe's dick.
Of course, he's got to take a peek. He's got to be like, is it true that the goblin's greener on the other side,
Well, if it's green, that's concerning, but get that looked at. But I don't know. The more I was watching this movie, the more I was like, wow, I kind of now understanding why I didn't like this when I was younger. But let me rephrase it. There are parts that I love, that I like more
Yeah.
in this movie. All the fight scenes are phenomenal. Like all the fight scenes are so good, and
I
all
would
the action
say
sequences
that-
are really good.
Yes. I would say that the fight scene on the train is probably one of the most iconic in comic book movie history.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those that, like, when you watch it, it's still, to this day, it's still amazing. Now, I definitely don't agree with how it ended, where, he pulls off his mask, he has to do the train stopping thing. And then all of the people on the subway are like, "Oh, well, we won't tell who you are. It'll be our secret. We won't say a word." Bull.
You know why they said that?
Shit.
They can say that because they have no idea who the fuck he is.
All they
That
gotta
is the
do
one thing he has going for him, though.
But
I mean, he's literally nobody.
I understand
Like,
that.
the only way that they're going to recognize him is if they see him, like, on the street somewhere. And even then, they're going to have to remember his boring-ass face that's, like, unremarkable
Well,
in any way.
they're gonna remember who Spider-Man looks like.
You'd think
what's
so.
gonna happen is one of these days, when he becomes a super, like, popular scientist, like he does in the comics, they can be like, "Wait a minute, I know who that guy is."
Yeah,
They're going to be like, yeah, it's Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think you're giving people's memory too much credit.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
No,
I
'cause
don't
I remember people, like, I remember faces constantly. I may not remember names, but I'm like, I know that person. I know that.
Yeah,
I
I'm the same way
ran
too.
into
I
that
very
this
much can
weekend.
remember.
But you also have to remember, they'd be hyped up on adrenaline at this point in time, right? Everything's going so fast, and then they all get fucking knocked out windows by Doc Ock. Like, nobody's remembering shit from that day about Peter Parker's face.
Yeah, there's a part of me that just says, like there's a reason why, like, eyewitness testimonies don't really hold up in court anymore, because a lot of people just don't remember things correctly. That I do think a lot of the time vigilantes can kind of get away with, like, people sometimes knowing like what their face looks like, which is interesting. Of a weirder deep dive into characters who are ego driven have less masks than people who.
So, yeah, that's
That's an
one of the things
interesting
I
concept.
do like about the Invincible universe. Like, from day one, when Eve is talking to Mark, and it's like, "Oh yeah, we're both superheroes," and people don't look up. We go change behind the trash can, and then we fly away from school. And then, like, the only person who actually recognized who Eve was in the comics was, like, their first bad guy, who was a teacher making students bombs, and he addresses her as, like, "Samantha, like, you're not even wearing a mask. You think I wouldn't recognize you? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Right? And it'd be the easiest for her to make a mask of any of the characters in there.
Right? Exactly. So I can, but that being said, I understand that logic of superheroes. Yes, they have to keep their identity secret, which was a big drive for Peter in this movie, why he couldn't be with Mary Jane for the last 2 years.
Which didn't make any sense because nobody knows he's fucking Spider-Man. Still.
See, that's the other thing. We get that hint at the very end when she kisses him at the graveyard, and she has, like, that recognition of, like, wait, I know those lips. But then in this movie, she plain old forgot. Like, I guess she had suspicion, because at one point she wanted him to kiss her again, and before they could is when Ock threw the car through the
she, like,
window.
puts it to. I forget how she puts it together. Like, but there's a scene where she, like, her face, like, tells her of, like, oh, Peter is Spider-Man, and I already know this.
I mean, that was at the end when he was fighting Ock, and literally.
No, there's like before that, like, leading up to that part. Like, I think leading up to the part where she's gonna leave him or something, like, or leave J. Jonah Jameson Jr. Where she's like, whatever his name is, I don't know. The astronaut, the guy who in the animated series brought back Venom.
That also in the comics, he becomes the Man Wolf.
Does he really?
So when he showed up here, I'm like, oh, are they gonna maybe connect that somehow? Like, they're building a world here, bringing in all these characters. They talked about Dr. Connors in the first one. he showed up here. I mean, it was a different Connors.
Reference to
but
Doctor Strange, even.
They referenced Doctor Strange. Like,
Yeah.
they're building a world here that, in a way, could have connected to the X-Men because they were both owned by... No. Spider-Man was owned by Sony at the time, and still is technically. But like,
they
we
just
also
license it out or whatever.
Yeah, now they do, yeah. But like, we had at the very end of the movie, we see Thomas Jane, so like we see the Punisher. Like, that was legitimately the Punisher at the end of this movie, watching Mary Jane run away. So like, and that was
Interesting.
I think Punisher was Touchstone. I don't remember exactly what that one was from.
Was the plan to have Punisher come in?
But I think so. I think they were trying to build a universe. But
the fact that we could have had Man Spider versus Punisher, and we didn't fucking get it with Blade.
You know why we didn't get it? Spider-Man 3.
Morbius?
That's why. Spider-Man 3.
So, but you say that, but they were still looking at making a Spider-Man 4. Like, they actually had plans for a Spider-Man 4 after the third one, because the third one still made money in theaters, as far as I'm aware. When we get to that one, I'll look at
that movie still made gangbusters, I would think, just off of merchandising alone.
Yeah.
Like, that was more merchandised out than these two.
They were going to make a fourth one, and Raimi was going to do it until the studio was like, all right, we want Vulture, we want I can't remember who the other villain was they were going to put in there, but we also want it in a year or 2 years. And Raimi's like, yeah, that's not happening. No, Mysterio was going to be the other one, because it was going to be Bruce Campbell, and it was going to connect all of his roles in the past 3 movies.
That would have been good.
And
that would have been awesome.
That was the original plan. That was the original script. And then they basically told the company told Raimi, it's like, all right, you need to pump this out like super fast. We need to have this out there. And they're like, he's like, I can't do it and keep my directorial integrity, basically. So he left. Tobey Maguire left. They scrapped it, and then they went to Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and John Webb. I can't remember who actually directed that.
John Woo.
No, it wasn't Woo. I don't think John Woo has ever actually directed a comic book movie.
No, I don't think he has either. No, I think it was John Webb, because wasn't that the whole joke that John Webb was making a Spider-Man movie?
I think so. It was something Webb. I just couldn't remember if it was John Webb or whatever.
John Webb sounds right.
Yeah.
But okay, where do you want to start with this?
Well, I'll say, I mean, we're just kind of jumping around. I will say that you said you didn't like Mary Jane in this. She was one of the things I also did not like.
Agreed.
She was a terrible actress. I'm going to start out with that. She's a terrible actress at the play, because twice she looks out into the audience. The first time, not seeing Peter, gets upset. Second time, sees Peter, gets frozen. You're an actress, my dude. Like, you should not be distracted like that.
Well, most importantly, he shouldn't have been surprised that Peter wasn't there the first time.
Yeah, you want to know how I know that this is bullshit? Because if you're on stage, you cannot see a goddamn thing.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot of liberties being taken in this movie that falls under like comic book logic that I'm just like, this is modern day normal things that this would not even like come close to applying to.
There was one part of MJ though that did make an appearance in this movie that it also made an appearance in the second movie, and I'm not sure if I should consider it a cameo or not. And that's her hard nips in a wet dress, because apparently that's a staple in the Spider-Man.
Show up in this one? When?
Yeah, when she's tied to the post.
I
totally missed that.
Yeah, she had wet hard nips.
But that's like the like, I don't know if I should consider that a cameo or because it's basically like the only thing Mary Jane is in this movie for is to have her as this like pseudo love interest and to be the damsel in distress.
Yeah,
that's it.
That like, because the entire movie she is like you had said earlier, Chuck, just dogging on Peter left and right. Like the moment when
he deserves it. I mean, he deserves it. Because Peter is a dick to her like all the time in this fucking movie, and even in the last movie, like she breaks up with Harry, right?
Yeah.
And then Peter's like, yeah, I can't date you, sorry. And then throughout this one,
Oh shit!
leads her on the
Oh.
whole time.
There you go.
Repeat
Am I
yourself.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut out. for a second.
He leads her on and then ditches her again and then keeps leading her on throughout this movie. Like, oh, I love you, but I don't love you. The whole scene, like after his birthday party or whatever, like
Yeah, I was gonna
he's
bring up
just
the birthday party.
basically
Like they're out there talking, and maybe that's the scene you were talking about, Chuck, where she kind of knows something is up, but he's not admitting it. He's not admitting anything, and she just like because she's sitting there, she's got a hand on his face, like a loving gesture, and then when he doesn't really reciprocate, she turns around and she's like, "Oh, I'm seeing somebody now." Then why are you like
she's
doing
giving
that?
him a last chance.
Yeah, well,
But
but she's already
No,
dating somebody.
Yeah, she was already seeing somebody. Which, by the way, how long are we supposed to believe that they have been together?
oh, this
So-
is another one of those time things where it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah, didn't he just get back from space or some shit?
Yes, there. Okay, so there's a thing about that. Let's see here. Here we go. Mary Jane met John Jameson at Enrique's, the diner the Mary Jane worked at in the first film. A
Mhm.
trucker pinched her bottom, and she dumped a plate of spaghetti in his lap. When Enrique demanded she apologizes, she was thinking of caving in when John stepped in. His car battery had died, and he was waiting for a tow truck. He pretended to be an FBI agent, causing Enrique to back down, and MJ quit her job. They started seeing each other not long after. It doesn't give a
And this-
date, but
so this was supposed to be like a deleted scene that we missed, or
so this was okay. This is from the IMDb. This was in novelization.
oh, gotcha. So it's one of those things where we'd have no context for it in the movie, like Chuck hates.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, can we just put the shit from the novelization into the movie? Nobody
So-
reads novelizations except specifically Joe Janero.
See, I do.
I was gonna say, just you. You're the only one who does, you dork.
So okay, well, if you want to talk about stuff that was actually in the script that got cut, there is an extended
will
version.
That I will allow.
There is
Oh,
an
so
extended
there's
version
is there a Snyder cut of this?
that I
Oh
mean,
god.
it's just an extended version. It's not a standard cut.
Actually, it'd be the Spidey cut.
A lot of them don't, because I have both of them. When I bought the Blu-ray, it came with a digital for the extended, so I've got both. I've seen them both. It's only like 10 minutes longer. It's not even really worth it.
They're just like nonsense scenes.
Well, so here we go. This was, like I said, this was all in the script. Peter rents above a TV repair shop. He doesn't live with Harry anymore since Norman's death, and Harry moved back into his father's townhouse. Harry's obsession with Spider-Man was too much for Peter to bear. This is the reason why he gets annoyed with Harry at his birthday party. That would have been kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
This one is another one. Doc Ock tapped Peter's phone lines. That was how he knew he'd find him at the cafe with Mary Jane.
That would have made sense.
The scene with the burning building was a lot shorter. The reason MJ is so annoyed with Peter missed her play is because he was the one who encouraged her acting ability.
I mean, that's true.
Harry,
But that was in the first movie.
yeah, but that's why it extends over to here.
Yeah,
He has not gone to see her in the play at all.
yeah.
Because
We've
he's
already
busy.
established he's a piece of shit. Yeah.
That's it. Harry wonders if Quest, Oscorp's biggest rival, hired Spider-Man to discredit his company because Harry.
Now, see, if we'd have gotten a scene by that would have made more sense.
But yes, but Harry's still just self-centered and
I mean, yeah, all about the
Um,
money. Like that was something else. Like in this one specifically, he is like all about like, oh yeah, you're gonna make me all this money. Yeah, you're making me money. Like he was so money obsessed with this, and in the first one, like he just didn't care about money. Like he was just, like, oh, my dad's got money, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, most rich kids don't care about the money because they have it. It's when they actually have to step up and become responsible. That's when they actually kind of start caring about the money.
But he never would have had to. I mean, Norman had enough money where he could live the rest of his life and never had to worry about anything.
Sure, but then Norman died.
Also, wasn't Harry still in college? Like, because
Yeah,
Peter's
but-
in college.
Yeah.
He was at the end of the last movie, yeah.
Right. But, like, so he's already running this ridiculously, like,
If the company was
successful
left to
business?
him, yeah, he could just drop out of college. Doesn't matter.
But weren't there, like, a board of directors and stuff? in the
No,
first one?
Norman killed all them.
Oh, I don't remember him killing all of them.
Oh
I
yeah, he
guess.
killed all of them at the parade.
Okay. Oh, that's
When
right.
Spider-Man grabbed
Yeah,
MJ
yeah.
and then left everybody else to die.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Okay.
Okay, some more stuff in the script. Hoffman is the ad manager for the Daily Bugle, according to the script. That would explain why Jameson is always asking him to patent names for the supervillains invented by the Bugle. Betty Brant ensures the bum is
Actually
paid
makes a
more.
lot of sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Betty Brant ensures the bum is paid more for the spider suit than Jameson was willing to shell out. In a scene omitted from the film, the night staff at the Bugle say that Jameson wears the suit, striking mock heroic poses when he thought no one was watching. He even he even walked over to his desk, sticking paper clips to the lamp like it was webbing. Also, the DA's office wants the suit to verify it's the real thing, but Jameson won't hear of it. And there is a scene. I have actually seen a deleted scene of J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, in that suit, hopping up on his desk, doing the whipping.
That would have been great. Because I have a note here that says JJ was absolutely gay for Spider-Man.
Well, yeah.
Oh, he's so gay for Spider-Man. He's so
And then,
gay for Spider-Man.
Speaking of Betty giving out extra money, who in their right mind would loan Peter Parker money?
Right?
Like,
Right? Like this man
just straight off the bat.
Financially irresponsible.
Is he
another
financially
thing.
irresponsible, or does he just not get fucking paid enough?
Well, both actually, probably.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, $300 for a couple pictures, that's pretty good money.
In 2005 at that, or 2004 at that, yeah.
But when if that's the only income you have in, which is not even a regular basis, because
he was freelance. It wasn't the only income.
Freelance.
He had that delivery job
which he never got paid for because he was always a minute late with his pizzas.
Also,
apparently,
like, I would definitely not be eating that pizza. That pizza.
Yeah, the way those boxes were smashed and like,
right.
Yeah.
No, they were justified in refusing those pizzas.
Yeah.
And one piece of pizza had webbing all over it, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and like that's the important thing to look is like she didn't say, or I guess she did say I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, because it was like 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Was it 5 minutes late? I thought it was like a minute late.
Nope. It was 5 minutes late.
Okay.
He was supposed to be there at exactly like on the dot of the hour, and it was like 5 minutes past that when he was fucking with things. Speaking of which, who stacks shit like that in a closet? Nobody.
I don't think it was actually stacked like that. I think when he crawled through the vent, maybe to get into the closet, which no one questions. Yeah, when Bones sees him, it's just like, okay, whatever. Bones being from TV show, because that was the actress from TV show.
Right.
Yeah. Is that like
That's where I
Zoe
knew her.
Deschanel's like sister or something?
Yep, older sister. I can't remember her first name.
Good for her. Read that Bones way. Friend the bone.
Get that money. What else was there? Yeah. So a couple more things. MJ confesses to Louise. She's marrying Louise, whatever her name is. She's marrying John to prove something to her father and to show Peter what he's missed out on.
Yeah, the concept of them getting married is psychotic, right? I'm not crazy about that.
Yeah.
Like even if they have only been dating for a few months, that's crazy. To get engaged and then married that fast. Like, I know we're in another movie where like time doesn't actually exist, and this is actually over the course of
There-
like a million months or whatever.
Yeah,
but
there
they
is.
do
I
it
guess
all in
if
like
you
4 hours.
look at the newspapers when they are coming out, it actually has a timeline. I didn't, so I don't know exactly
need
how
it.
long this
I
is.
didn't either.
Yeah. So the planetarium party Jameson's hosting is to raise money for the new Library of Science. And the last little thing that was in the script, part of what fuels Harry's depression is the scientists who witnessed the failed fusion experiment were thinking of suing Harry because it was funded by Oscorp's money. It also bothers him to see MJ with another man just like Peter.
That's fair.
That's fair.
So
Makes sense.
So, did anybody else get the impression in this movie, like throughout the movie, that Peter was trying to get people to figure out that he was Spider-Man? Like, straight in the first fucking scene of the movie, he's got his mask hanging out of his pocket of his costume, or the pocket of his outfit, and he looks right down at it as he's talking to his manager, and then, like, makes a show of tucking it into his pocket.
I just think he's just not as like he is showing that his mind is in a million places, so he's not paying attention to what he should be paying attention to. But you're not wrong in thinking, because there's a scene when Robbie like says, "Oh, we haven't seen Spider-Man," looks right at Peter. Like, did he know?
I think
Like-
Robbie did know, yeah.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like everybody knew, but no one is actually saying anything. It's almost as bad as Lucius in Dark Knight, who knows that Bruce Wayne's Batman, but will
No, he
not
doesn't.
say. Oh no, he does.
No, he
don't see
doesn't.
the Tumblr rolling around on top rooftops in Batman
He
Begins and think,
doesn't know
"Oh,
anything about it.
that's
He
true."
just knows that he's given some rich boy toys. Okay.
Yeah.
But speaking of money, Uncle Ben was kind of a dick for leaving Aunt May so high and dry. Like, how did he not have a pension or Social Security or
Well, he
like?
got fired. Like, didn't they talk about that in the first one? Like,
I mean, yeah, he did get fired, but she would have still been able to get his Social Security after he died.
Why did he have zero retirement plan in place?
Exactly.
Why
He was
did
a
he
fucking
not have
boomer. He
one
was
Roth IRA
loaded.
set up?
Well, he would have been, but then he had to take care of his shithead nephew, who, his brother just up and died. Wait, no. Was it May? No, yeah, it was Ben Parker.
Yeah.
So
Why? I mean, as we talked about in the first one, Uncle Ben not a good person. But because he should have just given the fucking car up. Like, it was stupid to risk his life for the car. It didn't make any sense. He deserved to die. We've been over that already. I just, in case we had to reestablish that
you
here.
just wanted to say that again.
Yeah, well, it's true. That's why. But like, the fact that like, yeah, he didn't have any type of like settlement, or like, how come they didn't sue? You know what I mean? Like,
But sue who? Like the
I don't know,
Robert,
the city for not protecting. Listen,
the
people
guy who
sue people
killed
all the
him
time.
was not
I'm sure
caught.
there was something they could have done.
Yeah, that's
How
not-
come they
not
aren't?
bad.
How they do not? It has been 2 years, and they have not figured out who shot him. There's no
Well-
investigation still happening. They're not talking about that. Oh, we've all just moved on. We've all just moved on.
I mean, it's a cold case now.
Until the third movie.
Till the third movie when it gets figured out by Spider-Man. But it's a cold case now.
Why?
not-
But
You're not wrong. Like, they
Why?
definitely didn't figure that out, and they just kind of left it dangling. And
yeah,
they should.
Oh,
be
I can
going
tell you
to the
exactly
police
why.
asking.
Because Uncle Ben was poor and nobody cared that he died.
yeah, but like, if Peter, fuck Peter Parker. Now stop and think about it. If Peter's whole thing is that he feels guilty that he is the cause, which I don't think he is, the cause of Uncle Ben's death, and he lost this really important person in his life, and he is now out to avenge and like carry on the legacy of the lesson that he has learned, ensure that this never happens again, blah 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 blah. Why would he not try to figure out who killed Uncle Ben?
Because
He
originally it
killed
was
him.
the guy that, it was the guy he threw out the window in the first
Yeah.
movie. They then in the third movie they retcon it
Retroactively, they retconned it. Well,
to
and
be
even Sandman
Sandman.
didn't kill him; he was just there, right? Right?
I
Or
don't
did he kill
remember.
him? I don't remember.
We'll find that out in a couple of years.
He was the driver. Sandman was the driver.
Was that? Was he the driver?
I believe that's what I remember him being in the car, or he was in a car. He was the guy who dropped him off or something. Like he didn't actually kill him. He just like
Yeah.
he was like an accomplice.
I think yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah. Okay. I don't know, but they needed a storyline to tie that one together, and it as bad as it is, that's what we got. We'll get to that in the future.
Yeah,
I'm calling bullshit on this.
You're not wrong to call bullshit.
So during Doc Ock's little preview of his experiment, right? When
Might come back to those two. Go ahead.
When he gets the arms put on him for the first time, and the needles sink into him, and everybody cringes. Nobody would have been able to see those needles sink into him. They wouldn't even have known they were there.
And those needles were long as Get Out.
But they were all behind him. Like everybody was standing in front of him. He got up inside the suit and looking at them when the needles sank in. I understand him cringing, but the whole room cringes when that happens.
What you don't see is Rosie, his wife, standing behind him holding a mirror that they can see.
Oh, okay.
Happening.
No, I see her holding a mirror later on. Oh, wait, never mind. That's a piece of glass.
No, that's piece, yes. Which apparently she was supposed to get shocked, or not shocked, hit by a spike from the sun, and that was what was going to kill her. They changed it to obviously glass killing her. So
they could do the thing about seeing the reflection in her eye, and
which I think is stupid because it would have made more sense for the flare to kill her, because then he really would have been like that's the whole thing is he needs to control the flares from like shooting out and stuff. So like that actually would have made more sense. But I did think that the shards of glass were interesting.
It's one of those that, I mean, we've seen similar things like that a lot. Whereas the sun flare hitting would have been probably cooler.
True,
but I also think we actually saw the aftermath, like actually cut her in half. Yeah, or we got to see the body with all the like glass in it.
No, all they do is roll out.
It is a Raimi movie.
True. All they do is roll out a body bag, I think. Yeah. That we're supposed to assume is her.
Well, I mean, like everybody else also died.
But nobody else died.
Yeah, she was the first death in the movie.
Yeah, they just got boo-boos.
I mean, financially, they all died.
Well,
okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And to them, that's the only thing that mattered. So,
not wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Not wrong.
Speaking of shitty things, we're introduced to like Doc Ock and his wife Rosie, and they're meeting Peter for the first time. And Peter's whole thing is that he's going to be writing a paper about the science of this. And like, it is so clear the dialogue was written to like push the narrative of like Peter's guilt love story nonsense instead of like other things, that when they're like, hey, so Peter, hi, welcome, first time meeting you, tell us a little about yourself. Do you have a woman in your life?
No, that's legitimately an old people thing to ask, though.
That's also
but they're not that old.
Because they're in their
50s. Oh, I didn't mean age-wise old, because like if you think about it, this movie came out in the 2004.
Yeah.
So Doc Ock was probably in like his late 40s, early 50s at that point in time.
Also, okay. I want to point out, so when
you're right, the first time we see Doc Ock is in Indiana Jones and it's the first one. Shit. No, it's the first one.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So this movie, when Harry introduced Peter to Doc Ock, or to Otto, he was reluctant, but obviously since Harry pays the bills, he he placated them and was like, all right, you can ask me whatever questions you want. And as soon as they started talking science, like he saw like kindred spirit in Peter. So as the day like he was there probably more often, more of the day than he probably should have. So they did get to know each other a little bit. They got to know the science. They bonded over that because they sit down for dinner. Like they're having dinner. Rosie is preparing a meal for them. Then you go from a science talk that they're all done with the science talk. Now you're going into the small talk of, oh, what's going on in your life?
But they don't show us that part. They don't show us having those conversations because they immediately jump to the dinner thing.
Correct.
So it looks
don't get
like
the connection, yeah.
And also, as somebody who's worked on campus where there's an entire fucking science department, all I ever hear are science people talking about fucking science, and you can't get them to shut up about it, even when you want to ask them personal questions. All that fucking aside, who the fuck starts with, hey, tell us a little about yourself? You know, do you have a woman in your life? Are you in love? Are you going to get married? Not, hey, where are you from? Who'd you know? What were your parents? Like the normal stuff.
Chuck, you got to remember, they're nerds. Having a chick in your life is a flex for them. So, like, Doc Ock was like, check out my hot wife. She's in love with me. She's making us food.
She started the whole fucking thing. Because she was a writer, I guess, instead, and then gave up her passions of that to be a fucking, I don't know, assistant or whatever she was.
Because she's a woman in a comic. She's only there for the whatever male has her fancy.
I'm just saying, like this, like my whole issue is most of the time the dialogue is kind of shit in this movie, and this is like a prime example of it.
I mean, you're not wrong. If there's not like an actual action scene happening, all the rest of the dialogue is kind of garbage or exposition.
Yeah, there's the point where after Peter gives up his powers, like legitimately rescinds his powers, he's walking through the park and then he trips. Okay. When he stands up, he's in the city by a building on a sidewalk. And they apparently took like 4 different takes, and they actually used all 4 takes because there's different people in the background every single time.
Oh, that's because he fell down for so long.
Just kind of flew.
Yeah. But also, speaking of when he's losing his powers and stuff, so when he goes to jump off the building thinking he got his powers back, like, there's one key...
killed him.
Yeah, well, that too. But also, there's one key ingredient that he was completely forgetting. He still had to see with his glasses. If he had his powers, he wouldn't have been able to see with his glasses on.
Which, we get later on. Yeah.
Do you... So, hold on. So you're telling me that like he can just be like, oh, my powers aren't working anymore, therefore I just give up, and then all of his powers just like went away?
So we get that scene with the doctor, which I'll say I definitely question like how much that is a doctor because he actually cared about his patient.
Oh no, he was a college doctor. That was a college doctor, like the one that's like on like that was a doctor that was on the campus.
Yeah.
That's exactly what campus doctors act.
Oh, are
like.
they? I didn't go to college. So
yeah.
Okay.
Nope. That is 100% accurate. Yep.
Okay. But he basically said like, oh, it's a mental block. Like you have to figure out, and this is a classic choice. You got to figure out: do you want to have choice A, where you are in college and at your job and being present in the people's lives that you want, or do you choose, B, where you are being the superhero, where you give up all this stuff? Like you have to go all in on one. You can't do half for both. And so, like he chooses. I think,
but he was already losing powers
because he was already questioning. I think it was
that's how
Mary Jane.
Is that like canon?
So.
His powers are emotion based?
No, I the only time I can think of when he actually loses his powers is because he goes through the transformation into the man spider.
Yeah,
but that's why he loses his powers, because it's changing his physiology again, and then he ends up getting them back, and then changing. But
it's cool.
But also in this, when he loses his powers the first time, like when his webs stop and he falls and lands on those like pipes on the roof or whatever,
Yeah.
and they start steaming. They steam from everywhere except for where he broke the pipes.
Well,
yeah. Like, he can't get hurt. You know what I mean?
I mean, his clothes.
Well, no. I mean,
his
I'm
body
just saying, like,
stopped
because
steam.
the steam doesn't start coming out until after he gets up. But the way that they did the special or the effect for the steam, it comes out from like underneath the pipes instead of through the pipes, which would have made the steam come out where he broke them. Which would have
Right.
made more sense.
It's like why Superman moved when they would throw the gun at him, because the gun was real and all the bullets were fake. Like, it's a real steam. Can't have it come out where he landed. It's insane. Burnt. But I don't know. I guess like it just I don't like the idea that it was emotion based. That was the reason. Like, because he gives up, therefore his powers just don't work.
I think because his powers in here are, like, especially the webbing is different than Spider-Man in the comics. Because in the comics he has web shooters.
Do you like the natural webbing concept?
There's pros and cons to both.
I'm not a particular fan of it because Spider-Man running out of web is one of the problems he runs into a lot. Like in the comics, that makes gives it more depth, I guess. And just having an infinite amount of webbing that you can shoot is just kind of I don't know. I don't like it personally, but
right. I like the idea that it wasn't that they weren't natural because it's an easy like out that that he's out of webbing, right? Like, if you need to inject conflict, it's oh shit, I don't have any more webs.
Yeah, that and the fact that it shows that he's smart enough to make it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I get that, but there's a part of me that always thought that there's a part of me that always assumed it was natural until I thought the cartoon of him having like a web shooter and stuff was actually like not like that was the difference. Like, this was the time where it wasn't going to be the same, because I always just assumed he had natural webbing because he's a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I thought he just got all of the characteristics of being a spider. Like, he could produce his own webbing and he could crawl. Because otherwise, he really doesn't have anything other than crawling walls that separate him from
strength. Yeah, he's got his
and his
but everybody has fucking super strength.
And his spider senses.
That's just situational awareness.
Yeah, which so many people don't have.
That's not true. Not true.
Totally true.
Superheroes?
We've seen
of other superheroes? Everybody has that.
People. We've seen way too many videos where people.
No, I'm talking about other superheroes in comparison to other superheroes.
But they don't.
Yeah. Captain America constantly sees shit coming before it needs to.
That's because he has super reflexes. He doesn't actually see it, or he catches a glimpse of it, but he's got fast enough reflexes to avoid it. Spider-Man knows it's happening before it starts happening, see?
Okay. Whatever. Anyway, but there's nothing distinct that makes him a Spider-Man.
He got bit by a spider.
Yes, I know, but his power specifically, other than being able to crawl, doesn't fucking do anything. And if that's the case, I watched a dog run up a wall the other day. So, like, dogs can do it too.
That's Spider Dog.
Spider Dog.
It's true. Actually, that'd make a lot of sense.
I do love, though, the amount of sorry, this is completely off topic, but the amount of memes that come out of these movies is priceless.
Oh my god. I think that also, like, I know I said it in the first one, but I do think that, like, the fact that this movie got memed, and this one even more so, because of the campiness.
Third one.
Yeah, I know, but because of the campiness, like, this became a very easily memeable movie, and it maybe that's why I struggled to take it so seriously, is because I just saw the memes.
That's fair.
But like the the classic like weird like face when he's like trying to hold the train back. Like, all I could ever think of is like the "I'm coming" like fucking thing.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I also love, speaking of that specific train part, I love like his thought was, oh, I'll just jump down and try to kick stop
Well,
a
even
f-
even
a
the
new,
dudes
like,
in the train look at him like, "Oh, got any better ideas, genius?"
Yeah,
Speaking
I'll
of
go to
people in the
field.
train, one of those passengers was Phil Lamar,
Yeah,
which was pretty
This
cool.
movie is full of like that era reference of like cameo famous people just popping in because it's New York City. You never know who you're gonna run into, right? That in 2024 lens, I go, oh, that guy was like famous for something, but I have no fucking idea what it is. Which like nowadays, when they like are dropping like TikTok people and like streamers and like
Yeah,
it like into movies now, and everybody's like, oh, that's a big deal. Like 10 years, 20 years from now, people are gonna be like, who the fuck is that? Why did that matter?
we went when I saw Free Guy, and they have like the 4 or 5 YouTube streamers, video game YouTube
Yeah.
streamers. I'm like, I know him. Didn't know the rest of them, but my kids were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so and so." I'm like, "Well, that's
is this what it feels like to be old?
kind of
Yeah.
yeah."
That's 100% what it feels like to be old.
Speaking of old, so I wanted to talk about the landlord and how he's the best landlord in New York because Peter is a month behind on his rent. And,
Yeah, that was
still lets
ridiculous.
Peter live there. And I
Yep.
know we're gonna get it in the next movie when Peter actually jumps down his throat, and the landlord's like, "There's something wrong with him. Like that's not him. Like something's up." Like this landlord is awesome. This is a good landlord.
Yeah, he doesn't. All he does is like he's like, "Yo, where is my money?" Which is like kind of justified. Oh, by the way, I think we're all consensus. Fuck landlords, but like,
Yeah,
but like at the same time, like, yeah, he doesn't. He's never given him an eviction notice. Peter's chronically like never has his rent and is a month behind. Like, yeah, no, like the dude actually wasn't like, yeah, he wasn't a bad landlord. He actually was being pretty reasonable. Though I did enjoy. He's like, well, I only got $20. Boom, grabs it, but doesn't say he's taking $20 off of his
faster,
right.
faster reflexes than Spider-Man to get that money. That should tell you something right there.
Uh-huh.
Pretty great. Pretty great.
And his daughter's adorable.
Yeah, she's cool. She was in another movie I saw that I really liked her in, but I can't remember.
Spider-Man 3.
No, yes, but another movie.
Okay, so something reading through my notes here. When they're at the bank, right?
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen the show The Community?
No, but I know of it. Yeah.
Okay, so the banker is Jeff from The Community. I don't remember his real name.
Joel McHale.
We go.
He was from The Soup. That's where I know him.
I remember. Yeah, I remember The Soup. Yeah. He's also in Stargirl. I actually enjoyed.
I've never seen Stargirl.
He's also in Joe McHale something I don't remember, which was The Soup, but not on E. I just remember that.
That was when he got kicked off The Soup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also in Animal Control, which is a pretty funny show.
I've heard it's very good. I heard it's like The Community, but with animals.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. That's how somebody described it. I was like, oh, that's not bad.
My last couple notes here. It was seeing Norman was pretty cool. I didn't expect that the first time I watched this movie. So that was awesome. And one thing result of that, of Harry finding all that goblin stuff at the wedding, first time I've noticed this. Watch this movie, I don't know how many times.
He's wearing a green tie.
He's got a green tie.
Yeah.
Did not notice that before. So I thought that was kind of
That's interesting. Are we supposed to believe that he's losing his mind and that's why he sees his father?
He's super depressed. I don't know if he's losing his mind or if
the
goblin essence is still around.
Well, like, yeah, that's what I'm wondering, I guess, because it's just like it's the evil version of his father. The same thing that
Norman was seeing.
that Norman was seeing.
Yeah.
So maybe
but, like,
that those little canisters.
No, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
those little canisters. Maybe one of those had leaked into the apartment, and so while he's in there brooding and drinking, or hell, it could have even it could have contaminated something, and he's slowly like, yeah.
I'm sure Ron. It's probably in the novelization. If we have,
you want me to look real quick? I can read through that. But no, you're right. Like they
should have explained that.
I would assume, yeah, they should have definitely because he is on the verge of a breakdown literally the entire movie. Every time we see him with Peter, after losing, basically losing that grant with Doc Ock, like he's on the verge of losing everything. So he's spiraling. That got out of hand.
That's a word.
Like
That's
literally
how
down.
spiraling works.
Anyway, so yeah, like maybe it was just more susceptible. Maybe he was going psychotic. I don't know. Maybe deep down he knew that his dad was a piece of shit. And
I mean, he knew that, period. But you know,
yeah, he did know that.
Yeah,
but as soon as he died, it's the same way when anybody dies. Really, it's like, oh, everybody's like, oh, you know, they were such a good this, or they were such a great that, or
exactly.
And it's like, because you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead or whatever, but also it's like, fuck that.
I hate that. I hate that. No, if you were a shit person, you don't get to. Death does not forgive you of your fucking sins. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
fuck
not
that.
what it says in the Bible.
Yeah, well, fuck your stupid book and fuck your non-real old man in the sky. Bullshit. Death does not forgive you for being a shitty person on Earth. You deserve. I will show up to your funeral, Joseph Janero, and I will talk shit about you the entire time. Do you understand me?
What I do to you?
Do you understand me? And
that's fine. Please,
what you did. What you did. He's gonna get up there. He's gonna get up there, and he's gonna be like, "So this one time I was doing a podcast." And Joey gave me the worst information ever.
I gave him the right information. He chose not to read it all.
Not true.
Totally true.
And I always told and Chuck's gonna start to tear up, and he's gonna be like, and I always told him he was dead to me, and now he really is dead. So fuck you, Joey Janero. Oh.
And then mysteriously his body disappears, and he's jumping out the window. I hate him. I want him dead.
Okay, so
J. Jonah Jameson, this whole thing.
J. Jonah Jameson is the best actor in this entire movie.
Oh yeah, J.K. Simmons is amazing.
The scene when MJ doesn't show up to the wedding, and he's like, call like Rebecca or whatever, and his wife's like, the caterer, and he's like, yeah, tell her not to open the caviar.
That was like, so good.
That was beautiful. That was just fucking hilarious.
And that's Jameson. Like,
exactly. He embodied J. Jonah Jameson 100%. Better than anybody ever could.
Which is why he's still J. Jonah Jameson. You know,
no matter what universe. Yep.
Exactly. Literally, I think he's even done the voice for him in a couple of the shows, if I remember correctly, or like the video games, maybe. I don't know. Just he's Jameson.
But I also really liked Doc Ock.
Alfred Molina.
Yeah, but like,
yeah,
I think that's right. But like, I mean, I just like this version of Doc Ock, where he's not necessarily like you know, the comic book version of Doc Ock. He is this absolute douchebag dick that's evil, and it's probably because he's short and has a fucking bowl cut.
Well, yes, like the original up until what, like 2010, maybe. Like the more recent Doc Ock stories have kind of shifted him into like an anti-villain or anti-hero territory, where he's still doing bad, but like when he was Superior Spider-Man, when he was in Peter Parker's body, like
right,
he was a good guy.
Well,
like I mean, he wasn't.
Yeah, he eventually did.
I mean? You know, what
yeah,
I mean? Like he doesn't. This version of Ock was wonderful. I agree with you on that one. Like this was why this movie to me was so good and why it still held up, because this Doc Ock was amazing. We also, instead of seeing a mask, we actually got to see a face. Now, a lot of those fight scenes where CGI was a little rough.
Dude, speaking of fight scenes though, how is Doc Ock not dead like fucking 20 times from fucking Sunday? Because when he gets hit with that bag of coins, I don't care how soft Peter threw it back at him, he is only human. And that would have crushed everything inside of his body, because that bag of coins would have weighed like 400 pounds.
Oh, so who keeps a bag of coins in the bank? movies.
Comic books.
Yeah, I was gonna say nothing in the vault looks like that at all.
No,
Like they don't just keep gold like that. The
Just
gold gets
sitting
shipped
there.
out, and they get like it's insane.
And I also need to find out where Aunt May got her umbrella. Because
Right?
the fact
Oh,
that she
yeah.
was hanging on that umbrella and it held all of her weight and was still in one piece when she let herself down onto the ledge, that's an impressive umbrella right there.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, I push up on my umbrella too much and the motherfucker will break.
Right? Yeah.
Well, maybe if she had a little less umbrella money and a little bit more keeping her fucking house money.
I'm pretty
She-
sure that umbrella was from like 1972 when
When they actually made
stuff.
things where they were supposed to stay together.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense actually.
You know, when things were actually sustainable instead of making them to where they break so you have to go and buy a new one.
Mm.
I did that with my weed whacker. Just
Intentional obsolescence, I think is what that's called.
I believe you're right.
Okay,
One other
boomers.
thing. So when Spidey is on the crane, right, towards the end of the movie,
Yeah.
that felt like an homage to Darkman because he gets the sky behind him with like the lightning and stuff, and it looks like the exact same shitty cut that we got from Darkman.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Raimi did do Darkman.
I know, that's why I'm saying that's why I think it's what it is.
Because we had a homage to Evil Dead when Ock woke up and was killing all the doctors. Like that was literally an Evil Dead scene.
That's where I think it finally clicked for me is when they're trying to like remove the arms, and we get the like horror murder scene, and it's like, oh, this is fucking Evil Dead 2.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I was like, oh, this is the more campy. We're gonna make it just over the top, ridiculous in comparison to the first one. It made a lot of sense. Made a lot
I'm
more.
interested to see. Now I haven't watched the third one in quite a while because even the last
like
time I
Army of Darkness.
No, third Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I haven't seen Army of Darkness in a while.
Holy shit! I just found a wallet with a bunch of money sitting out here.
Is it
Simon's?
yours?
It's Simon's.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it can't be Ron's. Ron doesn't have money.
Fuck no. Are you kidding me? That kid's got more money than I'll ever have, probably.
That's why you have children to steal their wad of money.
He was in the military. Or is, I guess. Yeah, so that's
Military
really
people
all
have
I've
money?
got. Well, they do when they get
sign-on bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's all I got for notes. Ron, you got anything else?
Let's see. Oh, Spider-Man stole that dude's pizza. when he comes out.
That which I guess was supposed to be the Stan Lee scene, the Stan Lee cameo, but for some reason that didn't work out, like maybe shooting schedules, so it got moved to him pulling the one girl out of the way from getting hit by the building.
Well, to be fair, that's what he does in the first one. He pulled him out of the way.
Did he? I can't remember where he did the first one.
The parade or whatever, when the explosion, and he runs and grabs her. So I think that's like just what his role is in the Spider-Man movies, is he cameo saves people's lives.
I don't think that's. I mean, we'll get to it in the third one, but I don't remember what it was in the third one.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember
that was the only other.
I know he's in all of them, but
he is. I mean, Spider-Man was his baby. He's definitely in every single Spider-Man he can be in.
Yeah, that's my last note. Was that one right there?
Oh
no, wait, I forgot. There's also the you can't get off if you don't get on. That right there.
Yeah, a timeless truth for Ron. And it's the reason why he's in the position he is now.
Yep. Chuck, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think that was everything.
Okay. Well, that gives us our kill count of 16. Very low on this one. Which, I mean, that is 10 more than the first movie.
Yeah.
First movie only had 6.
Yeah.
So,
Doc Ock was on a rampage, let me tell you.
Well, yeah. Killed his wife, killed the doctors, killed himself. That's literally almost kind of all of them.
Okay, I will pose the question, but I want people to write it down if they're watching on YouTube in the comments.
Nobody
Do
watches
you
YouTube. I've
feel
seen the numbers.
do you feel that 9/11 did directly hurt a lot of this movie because they really had to lean into the nationalism, like New York strong concept in both these movies? Because like we see it again on the train, like because I was calculating everything and stuff, and we see it again on the train of like, if you're gonna get him, then you gotta fight us.
Maybe because then I'm also thinking of Amazing Spider-Man when he is saving the I was gonna say Emma, but that's not right. Gwen Stacy and the kids off of the elevator or whatever, and the lizard's gonna go attack them, and then all the people on the bridge start throwing stuff at the lizard. Similar situation of if you attack one of us, you attack all of us.
Yeah.
And that was in 2012. So that's a decade after.
Yeah, because I don't know
forget.
if you guys have actually ever been to New York. It ain't like that.
Long ass time
It ain't
ago,
like that.
and it was really just passing through to get to Buffalo.
I've never been to the city. I've been to like other parts of New York, but
no, it ain't like that down there. They're not that level of camaraderie unless you're.
Were they in 2001?
The media would have you believe that, but no, I don't remember it being that way.
Honestly,
anyway,
I don't believe a lot of media anyway,
fair.
but that's a different situation. Okay.
Yeah, fair.
Interesting. Alrighty.
Especially in 2000. By 2004, we had kind of fucking given up.
Well, we were already like
it.
a couple years into our Forever War.
Yeah.
So we were still a little patriotic, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, like country music was still blowing up, literally.
I'm fairly certain it still is, like with that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah, but for different reasons.
Yeah, they just found the new thing to be angry at, which is people who don't like cops, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep. Specifically.
Yeah.
Never forget, though, we will put a boot in your ass. It is the American way. It's better specifically.
Rod.
So get your blue lines out.
What we got for bingo?
All right. So we've got the dead parents. There
were reference to a lot of dead parents in this. Yes.
Yeah. The responsibility thing, unexplainable science, comic logic, ID revealed to a friend, ID revealed to an enemy, ID revealed to a love interest. Wilhelm scream. We got the cameo. We got rejecting powers. We got the inability to control their powers. We got to fight for the control of something. Product placement, villain monologue, and that's it.
Oh, we were one short of 3 bingos.
Damn.
Close. Chuck, Spawn Cape Continuum.
Spawn Cape, actually, for the most part, this held up. This still looked fairly good. There were some action fight scenes that looked a little rough, mainly specifically with Doc Ock.
The one scene at the end when he's trying to stop the sun, like take it into the water. I don't know if it's double or if what the CGI was, but his hair was like huge.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene when the Peter is stopping the train as it goes over the ledge. That Spider-Man Peter looked like Ragdoll because he's like, yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, and like there were a good amount of special or of like practical effects in this too. I actually do love, like, I remember watching maybe it was like DVD on TV of this and stuff, and them explaining how the puppeteering of the arms worked. And there was like a crew, and each crew was actually assigned to like each of the arms. And they literally Raimi wanted them to give personality to the claws and stuff,
which did a good job because they all definitely seemed like different. They all did different things.
Yeah,
and like
tell. He wanted, and what it was supposed to be was like the one that was like talking to him the most was actually supposed to be the representation of his wife.
Oh, Interesting.
And so it like had more of like a sensual, moving like aspect of it, like almost like it was in love with him still, and like that was like linked to like his love for her and wanting to avenge her in that way. And then there was like the one below that was like the more aggressive one that was angry, and that was the one that usually attacked more. And so like I really liked that as a concept that like they went in with that. And like yeah, there was some stuff like when the building gets ripped off when he's trying to stop the train looked really bad.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I'll say, I mean, William Dafoe looked pretty fake. But then I realized that, like, oh, William Dafoe is just like weirdly young, even though he does. William Dafoe always looks like a corpse to me, regardless of the era of which we see him. But like, they really made him look like, I don't know, had some meat on his bone or something. I'm gonna say 6 out of I don't know, 13 spunk apes.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good ratio.
All right. On to our score. Out of 10, what do you give this?
All right. Is this a Spider-Man movie? Yes, it's a Spider-Man movie. Did I like it as much as the first one? No, I did not. What did I give the first one?
First one you gave it
8.2.
8.2.
Okay. This doesn't hold up in a lot of different ways, and I think it's because it became my Evil Dead 2 in my brain of the campiness being too campy. I do like all the fights. When he jumps onto the train, when Ock comes onto the train and pushes the like train with the arms, it's still the fucking coolest scene ever.
Yeah,
like that is the dopest thing. I would watch this again though. I still would watch it, but I just don't like it as much as the first one. But I'm hyped for when like my nephew's a year or two older to really like these movies and show them to him.
Yeah.
Because he loves Spider-Man now. I'm gonna say 6.8.
Okay. Ron, what you got?
So, I still like the movie. I mean, obviously there are a lot of flaws with it. There are a lot of bad actors doing not good jobs in the roles they're supposed to be doing. There's still a lot of nostalgia in there for me because, again, like I was getting Spider-Man movies, and I love Spider-Man. I don't know that I actually like this one as much as the first one either, but it's not that far behind. I gave it a 7.35.
Okay.
I get why he did that. That's a funny joke.
Oh, I know why. I like this one better than the first one. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was an excellent choice. All the scenes that he was in, I loved them. It was great. The Mary Jane stuff hurt it for me. Like she was annoying in the entire movie.
She looked really weird in this movie too.
She looked
like super pale. Yeah, yes,
like,
sick.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
She looked like she was legitimately sick, and they didn't need Mary Jane to be sick, so they were like trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like, oh no, just add a little bit more makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she did not look right. Yeah, so there's that. Harry was annoying the entire time. I mean, with reason, but
James Franco's a terrible actor.
Yeah,
that's legit.
Who was I talking to? I was talking to it was Emily, because we were flipping through Netflix and the interviews on there, and because she saw Randall Park, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was totally in that movie, and that movie was decent when I watched it, but I was just before the Seth Rogen James Franco falling out, because Franco is actually a complete d-bag.
Yep.
So yeah, this was. I would like to say that this is Franco in his height, or on his way to his height. Then obviously everything comes crashing down, and it's just terrible. You look like you're gonna say something, Chuck.
I was just trying to think. Yeah, when like I know right when the interview comes out is when all the allegations came out.
I think
right?
so, because the interview came out in 1920. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like right around COVID
Yeah.
because they ended up putting it on Netflix or something for free or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either
or
way.
they like rushed it. They rushed it or whatever.
Well, it was because of the whole like, oh, if North Korea is going to retaliate because it's making fun of their leader or something.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
So they didn't put it in theaters; they put it on a streaming service. That's what it was.
Right.
Oh no, I still enjoy this movie. Like I said, I like it better than the first one. I'm giving it a 7.9. Not much higher, but I gave it a 7.5 the last time.
I genuinely think if this is your favorite of the three, that's totally justifiable. Like that is like you just liking this movie is good. This is a good movie. I think Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, minus the third one, but I think there's a little bit in that we can still find and like. But I don't think it's unfair for people to be like, yeah, this is my favorite comic book movie of all time. And I get that.
No.
I think I finally figured out what it was that doesn't set well with me in this movie. And I can just go, yeah, this is good. It's just not really for me. I like the first one better.
And that's fair. Because the first one's great. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin did a wonderful job. I just wish it wouldn't have been a Power Rangers fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I also am starting to feel like we're hitting that era where we finally are like getting out of the origin story movie finally.
Yes.
And we're getting the sequels, and I'm always like, yes, finally, now we're gonna tell a story. We got the origin out of the way. Now we're gonna tell a story. And the sequels never live up to it for me.
I mean, yeah, because we're coming up to, Fantastic Four is coming up here soon. We've got Man-Thing coming up. Ghost Rider. Man-Thing. Yeah, there's a Man-Thing movie in 2005. Yeah.
There was?
Yep.
Was that
it did
a
not,
direct
I don't think it went
to
to theaters.
TV?
I think it was direct to video. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a Man-Thing movie that came out. But yeah, then we go like Jonah Hex and Green Lantern.
I vaguely remember this Man-Thing movie.
Oh, it happened. It was a thing.
It was on like the CW or something.
No, that was Swamp Thing.
Oh, I confuse those two a lot. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's fair. They are
the same character.
Kind of. But you're right in thinking like we're definitely in the era where the sequels, the movies are good. Because we don't have to do the origin stories.
Yeah.
But then once we get through all that, then we get into the universe movie. So like we're gonna have Man of Steel, we're gonna have Iron Man and Captain America. Like the MCU we're getting close to starting the MCU, and we're super close to starting the DCEU. So we will get away from the origin stories, sort of. But then we also have, movies like The Mask and Rocketeer and Time Cop and Judge Dredd. Like we're gonna have some other origin stories coming up here before too long. It just, it is what it is.
I'm a little excited about The Mask. I've been reading the original comic of The Mask.
Really?
Yeah, the omnibus of it or whatever.
Any good?
It's interesting. It's if I say it's a very 90s movie, or a 90s comic, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a very edgelord's 90 comic. Yeah.
Is it?
But
it's what is that? Is that Dark Horse? Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then it's definitely very 90s.
It's very 90s edgelord. Which is a shame because there are some elements in it that I'm just like, oh, this could actually be really good. Like in a 2024 like reboot where they didn't like draw in the movie because the movie's nothing like the comic. But if they could just draw
it into Jim Carrey's comedy for that.
Yeah. Which I don't think was bad.
No, the movie was amazing.
I love the movie. Yeah.
I just look at it and I say, man, they could re-release this in 2024. Like just the comic. I don't think they could do a movie based off of it, and it'd be really good and like a more clarity.
And maybe because I and some of the people that I'm in circles with have kind of gone away from superhero comics.
Yeah.
we're doing more like indie books. So like, I mean, Invincible and Radiant Black are superhero, but they're not DC or Marvel. They're not, Batman, Spider-Man, Cap, Superman. They're not that
Right.
superhero. They're I don't want to say edgy, but there's repercussions for things that happen in those comics.
Yeah. Were you the ones telling me about Nemesis?
Nemesis. Probably not them.
Yeah.
No,
No.
Nemesis, I believe, is a Mark Millar, so probably
Yeah,
Tim.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was Tim. It was Tim. Yeah, yeah. He was telling me about that. Never mind.
Okay,
Heard that was
so
good. Anyway.
we have got a. I think I've read it. I don't remember.
He
Whatever.
does some fucked up shit in it. That's not, I'm starting to not like Mark Millar writing.
He's got some interesting takes.
He's got something.
We'll get to some of his movies later on. The Mark Millar verse movie stuff.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you wanted.
Oh,
Kick-Ass.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
yep, never mind.
You
Yep.
know who wrote it. You know the writer.
Kick-Ass was the first movie I ever watched that was a comic book movie where I went, I didn't like this. I wish it was more like the original.
Was interesting.
Stuff.
And
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. But again, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We've got a combined score of 7.35.
Yeah.
Which drops it in at number 18 on our list, just behind
That's pretty
Willow at a 7.4, and just above Doctor Strange from 1978 at a 7.25.
That's weirdly low. Like, I in comparison to what I would expect it to land in, that's a little bit lower. I mean, and also surrounded by really weird movies.
True. It's lower than the first one. The first one is still in our top 10 at a
7.73, right? Yeah.
But that's only because Chuck, you gave it an 8.2, and Ron and I both gave it a 7.5.
Right. That's fair.
But yeah, like we've got. I mean, it's below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero, Men in Black, Flash Gordon, The Greatest Adventure of All. God, that movie was great. That was the animated one. That was great.
Yeah, that was good.
Creepshow, RoboCop, like,
It's got some pretty stiff competition in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Not bad.
So,
not bad.
Yeah. That is it, gentlemen.
All right.
Chuck, where can they find you on those internets?
You can find me on the internet at Kicked Out of the Hood, No Being Kicked on Instagram and TikTok. That's, you know what? That's all I'm going to plug. That's it. Okay. You can also find me over on my own show at time of record. When is this coming out? At time of release. Sorry. That's what I meant to say.
It is releasing. Everybody's hearing this today, May 24th.
May 24th, which means hypothetically the first 2 episodes of Elite Eight Showdown newest season should have dropped because we have it paced out where Tim has to drop the Father's Day episode by Father's Day. So, realistically,
so you're done jerking our dicks about this, and you're actually going to finish.
Listen, it's not me. Okay, it's your boss. Boss is like, well, we gotta. I'm just not gonna start editing and dropping them until we have all 10 recorded. But now I've made it so we have to actually finish recording the last few. Because he needs to get the Father's Day episode out by Father's Day. But if you've never heard my show before, it's Elite Eight Showdown. The concept is an 8-subject bracket elimination tournament on literally anything and everything. We had episodes like the Father's Day episode, for instance, is Tim's international tournament. No. I'm sorry. Tim's international delectable dad's Elite 8 or Elite Showdown. International Showdown. It's spelled titties. I was really proud of myself with whatever the thing is that I came up with. And he was just like, fuck, damn it. Okay. So we crowned the first golden titty.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I was really proud of that one. But check it out. It's out there. And of course, head over to Patreon. Patreon.com/professionalcasual at that 301 tiers. Directly supports us so we can refund Joey for his headphones that he just bought. Ronald?
You can find me on Instagram at TikTok at Good at This Game. You can also find my art on Instagram at Good Art This Game. And Joey?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Threads at Comic Book Rundown. You can find, you can email us comicrundown@gmail.com. Rate and review us on your podcasting app of choice. We've got merch over on Redbubble and TeePublic, and our song was done by Cam. Our next movie, we've got Jordan coming back for this one. We're going to be watching Solo, a Star Wars story.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
All
I've
right.
it's actually been a minute since I've seen this one. I really enjoyed it when it came out. But this is not one of the Star Wars ones I watch a lot. So that's not saying like it's a bad one, but
This is a movie that I was very hyped about because Han Solo is my favorite character in the Star Wars universe. It is a movie that I thought was going to be really, really good because there's a lot of like scoundrels and political sabotage, and it's ruined by a half-assed love story, in my opinion. It legitimately hits the peak of I'm so sick and tired of Hollywood shoving a love story into movies that doesn't need a fucking love story. And that was this movie for me. And this was like a breaking point with that.
you know what? That's fair.
That is
Yeah.
very fair.
But I still love this movie. It's so like it's legitimately one of my favorites.
Yeah. Alrighty. That is it. Thank you all for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.